Have you ever felt like the more you try to control your teen, the more distant they become? You remind them about their homework, you check their phone, you set strict rules, but somehow it pushes them further away. It's frustrating, exhausting, and let's be honest, it's not working. Here's the hard truth. The tighter you hold on, the more they resist. And if you're feeling drained from the power struggle, you're not alone. What if I told you that the key to strong relationships with your teen isn't about control? It's about trust. Today, I am sharing how to let go without losing authority, build trust, and actually enjoy a better relationship with your teen. Now, before we go further, you might be wondering, why should I listen to you, Keisha? Well, as a coach and emotional intelligence expert, I've not only transformed my relationship with my teen and young adult, I've helped hundreds of parents shift from control-based parenting to trust-based parenting. And let me tell you, it changes everything. I've seen it firsthand. Parents who felt like they were constantly arguing with their teens transform their relationships when they learned how to let go the right way. And that's exactly what I'm showing you today. The proven strategies to build a stronger bond with your teen while letting go of necessary control. And if you want step-by-step guidance on how to implement this in your house, I offer personalized coaching. Click the link in the description to work with me and start transforming your relationship with your teen today. Let's start with why patience is so crucial. I get it. Waiting for your teen to make a decision, especially the right one, can be frustrating. It's tempting to just jump in, fix it, and take control. But here's what happens when you rush the process. They stop trusting their ability to make decisions. They learn to rely on you instead of problem solving themselves. They start hiding things to avoid your reaction. I once worked with a mom who constantly reminded her daughter to do her homework. The result, her daughter became dependent on reminders and never took ownership of her responsibility. Instead of reminding your teen 10 times, step back, let them own their responsibility. It's uncomfortable at first, trust me. But over time, they learn to self-manage and trust themselves. Now, you may ask yourself, how do I know if I'm holding on too tightly? Let me give you some of the signs. You check their phone daily without them knowing. You micromanage their schedule, their friendships, or their choices. You feel anxious when they don't follow your plan exactly. And they avoid telling you things because they fear your reaction. Does any of this sound familiar? If so, don't worry, because awareness is the first step to making change. Drop in the comments and tell me what's one thing you find the hardest to let go of when it comes to your teen. Let's be honest. If your teen isn't talking to you, it's not because they don't have something to say, because they do. It's because they don't feel safe enough to share it with you. The number one reason teens shut down is because they feel they'll be judged, lectured, or dismissed. If your conversations feel like interrogations rather than connections, that's a sign that something needs to shift. Instead of asking, did you do your homework? Why are you always on the phone? Try these instead. What's something that made you laugh today? What's one thing you wish parents understood about teens? When you change the way you communicate, you open up the doors for trust. Tonight, ask your teen an open-ended question and just listen. No solutions, no opinions. Just let them speak. And remember, this video is just one small piece of the emotionally intelligent teens method, where we go deeper into effective communication strategies that build lifelong trust. If you want to learn more, click the link in the description. Boundaries and control are not the same thing, but many parents confuse them, which is why the power struggle happens. Control sounds like this. Because I said so, you can't hang out with those friends. I'm taking your phone until you can prove that you can be responsible. Boundaries sound like this. I trust you to manage your time, and I expect you to have your responsibilities done before you go out. I care about your safety, so I'd like to know where you're going and who you'll be with. I'm happy to give you freedom with your phone as long as we have an open and honest discussion about safety. Do you see the difference? Control is about power. Boundaries are about guidance. When we try to control every aspect of our teen lives, they feel resentment. They start rebelling or shutting you out. They feel distrust. So they feel like you don't believe in their ability to make good choices. And they become sneaky. So instead of following the rules, they find ways to get around them. No, I'm not saying you should not have expectations. But what I'm saying is healthy boundaries allow teens to develop self-control, decision-making, and responsibility. Here's how you set boundaries that actually work. You make the boundary clear. So instead of vague rules, say something like, curfew is 10 p.m. on school nights. If something comes up, communicate with me and explain why. Teens are more likely to respect the rule when they understand the purpose. Instead of, you can't go to the party, try, I'm not comfortable with unsupervised parties because safety is my priority. And allow room for discussion. Instead of demanding, involve them in the process. What do you think is a fit? Ask them questions about the boundaries that you're setting. What do you think is a fair expectation around screen time? And follow through with consistency. If a boundary is set, stick to it. If a consequence is established, enforce it without anger. I want you to take a boundary that you've been struggling with and reframe it in a way that builds trust rather than resistance. If there's one thing that I want you to take away from today's video, it's this. Your teen doesn't want you to control them. They need you to guide them. Think about it. Years from now, when your teen is an adult, how do you want your relationship to look? Do you want them to feel safe and comfortable coming to you for advice? Or do you want them to keep their distance because they felt like you never trusted them? The seeds of trust and connection start now. Letting go of control isn't about stepping back. It's about stepping into a more intentional, emotional, intelligent way of parenting. Well, pick one strategy. Here's what I want you to do. Pick one strategy from today's video and apply it this week. Whether it's adjusting a boundary, listening without fixing, or letting them own a responsibility, just start. Small shifts lead to big change. If you're serious about creating a deeper bond with your teen without power struggles, you can reach out to work with me in my Emotionally Intelligent Teens Method program. I walk parents through step by step how to set boundaries, build trust, and improve communication for a lifelong connection. The link is in the description. I want you to keep the growth going. Be sure to watch the next video. We'll talk about something that affects not just your relationship with your teen, but also your mindset and self-confidence as a parent. I'll see you guys there.